Are you a residential agent that's thinking about getting into commercial? I can tell you that the opportunity is becoming more and more desirable. With the market right now, things have changed a lot, and I think a lot of people right now are looking at getting from selling homes and doing smaller commissions to getting into commercial real estate. So if that's you, if you're interested in that, I'm going to talk about several things as it relates to transitioning from residential to commercial. I'm going to cover skill set adjustments, key differences between residential and commercial. I'm going to talk about challenges in transitioning and what you can do to overcome those. I'm going to talk about the benefits and why commercial real estate, I think, specifically brokerage, is more desirable than residential brokerage. I'm going to talk about some actionable steps, and then I'll have some closing thoughts. If you stick around till the end, I'll talk about what my average commission has been over the last 10 years of my commercial real estate brokerage. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so first let's talk about the key differences between residential and commercial. First and foremost, it's the client types. I think in residential, a lot of individual buyers, couples, and homeowners, or even first-time homeowners, people who are looking to get into a place that they're going to live in. Oftentimes, these people are making decisions based on emotions. They're not thinking about the actual business decision, whether it makes financial sense. Most buyers are going to be individual buyers, people that are actually going to live in the home, or they may rent it out. With commercial real estate, you're going to be much more investment driven, whether or not it makes financial sense. People making decisions based on return on their investment. Does this make sense from a financial perspective? Very different. Number two difference, transaction complexity. So typically commercial real estate transactions are much longer. Typically we would see 90 to 120 days, pretty standard. Today it can be longer in some cases because financing is a little bit more challenging. In commercial, you're dealing with potentially commercial lending, which can be more strenuous from an underwriting standpoint. And so those tend to be a little bit longer, more complex transactions. You're going to have larger scale deals on the commercial side. You may have nuanced lease agreements. So if you sell triple net, those are really going to determine based on the lease. And so you'll want to get comfortable reading leases, understanding what that means, and then how that relates to the transaction. You're also going to have zoning considerations. So commercial real estate, really important to understand zoning regulations specific to the county and local jurisdiction that you're in. There's also different tests that you do during the buying process. It's very common for a buyer to get what's called an environmental or a phase one report that looks at the history of the site itself and what was actually used prior to the existing property. Is there any kind of contamination? Were there any oil tanks underground? Things that are actually going to really impact the property's value later on down the road. You also can get a survey, right? So they're going to look at a survey of the property, the boundary lines. There's different types of surveys that you can get. So it's really important to understand that and what you're actually buying. You might also get a geotech. A geotech report is going to focus on the dirt itself. What's the composition of the dirt? And is it viable to build on? Typically, we see those more in development pieces or land. Number three, income structure. So residential, you as a broker, you're probably going to have steady deal flow or hopefully steady deal flow. They're going to be smaller transactions, much smaller commissions, unless you're selling luxury homes or something like that. But if you're doing stuff that's generally $300 to $1 million, your commissions are going to be a lot smaller. Commercial real estate, you have the ability to sell properties upwards of 100 million. And so your commissions can be very large. I can tell you my experience over hundreds of transactions, my commission check has been pretty decent sized. And I was actually surprised when I looked at that recently. So as commercial real estate, that's the benefit. You close less deals, but you can make more money. Number four, knowledge base. So the key difference here is when you're selling residential, you're going to focus on homes. You're going to focus on doing market comparables. What's the actual market saying that a home is worth? You're really going to want to know neighborhoods, schools, things like that, where people want to live. And then in commercial, you want to know market trends. So what are current market rents, depending on the asset type and the location? What is the cap rates? So cap rate, that'll be talked about in a different video. But what are the going cap rates, right? What are the current lease rates? What are the migration trends? So if we're looking at a city and understanding where these pockets in the city are going to be more popular, or where's the demand, where's the future growth. That's all really important in commercial And again, this all depends on the asset type that you're selling. It's going to be different across the board, okay? Let's talk about skill set adjustments. And I think this is a big part, residential to commercial. Number one, you want to know analytical skills. So we're talking about understanding financial statements. We're talking about market trends, reading statistics and data. It comes down to understanding how to underwrite property, how to calculate certain things that investors are going to want to see. What's our current ROI? What's our current cap rate? What's our current cash on cash? What about internal rate of return? These are all things that investors want to know because they are investing their money with the intent to make more money. And so that's very important. And that's really a big difference in transitioning from residential to commercial, is getting that financial knowledge. So as a commercial real estate professional, you're going to network with attorneys, insurance companies, or mortgage brokers, or lenders. There's a lot of different areas, and what we do is we talk about how to build that networking calendar, because really if you're focusing on that aspect of generating business, you will generate business if you meet with those people consistently. Lastly, negotiation. So this is a big one, but you see this in residential real estate as well. I would say they both have negotiation, but understanding lease agreements. If you're a leasing broker, you're going to lease commercial space to a tenant, you want to understand the nuances of how to negotiate that lease agreement. If you're talking about a purchase and sale agreement, the terms of a purchase and sale agreement are going to be different than the terms of a residential purchase agreement. In my experience, we would have realtors or residential agents that wrote offers on commercial deals that I've sold, and typically they didn't win them because they didn't write an offer in a way that put their client in a good position to buy the property. And so understanding how to write offers is key. And then understanding the deal structure, super important. What are some challenges in transitioning? So if you're thinking about going from residential to commercial, number one, there's a learning curve. You've got to understand the financial valuation part of commercial real estate. So knowing how to get that training, knowing how to look at a property and value it, understanding how debt plays into that, understanding what debt and how somebody can get the debt needed to make the investment work is super important. There's certification opportunities, so you probably heard of things like CCIM, which stands for Certified Commercial Investment Member. There's SIOR, but that's really more for commercial real estate brokers already in the field. And then there's other things that you can do, but by and large, understanding how to look at real estate in the commercial sector from an investment standpoint is going to be critical to your success. Number two, longer sales cycle. So just understanding that typical transactions take longer to close, understanding the importance and the financial stability is key for that transaction. And then building credibility. So making sure that you're standing out in the marketplace. So when prospects decide whether they're going to work with you, you've got the credibility that shows what you're doing, how to navigate the transaction. You've got the experience, the training, so that you can gain trust with clients. Another way you can do that is by considering working under a mentor or coach, or joining a commercial real estate specific brokerage. That will also lend credibility instantly, because if they're already at a commercial real estate brokerage, they're not going to question you. Let's talk about opportunities and benefits. Bigger commission checks. So you have the ability to generate higher gross commissions. In my experience, commercial real estate affords you the ability to work on bigger deals, thereby making bigger commission. And so if you want to work more deals, the commissions on average are going to be higher. Again, this is not specific to high-end luxury real estate, but by and large, most residential agents make less than commercial real estate agents if we're just comparing apples to apples. Opportunity working on diverse property types. So you can work on office, retail, industrial, hospitality, which is hotels, Airbnbs, things like that. You can work in multifamily. You can do mobile home parks, which is what I've traditionally done, or self-storage, RV parks. There's a lot of different things you can do within commercial real estate that really gives you a vast array of things to choose from. You can also do leasing, and some brokers do both. If you're leasing industrial, for example, you're probably also going to sell it. Having the ability to choose what your specialty is, and by the way, you should specialize. That'll make you a better broker. That's in a different video. But having that ability really just lends itself to making commercial real estate really special. And then market stability. Commercial real estate tends to be less volatile than residential during economic shifts. And that's mainly because commercial tends to rely on business activity, which typically we've seen a huge change in office from COVID but that has not been typical. And I do think office is going to rebound at some point. So what are some action steps for you if you're trying to transition from residential into commercial? Number one, get education. Understand commercial real estate from a financial perspective. So understanding how to value properties, understanding how to negotiate, understanding how to look for opportunities, how to find clients, how to cold call, how are we going to market to these clients? And then once we win business, what do we do? How do we market that property effectively? So getting education, and again, this can happen from joining a team at a commercial real estate brokerage, getting a mentor, hiring a coach. There's various things you can do to speed up that education process. You want to specialize. Again, this is a thing that I'm very passionate about, but I think you should specialize in a given asset class or a market and or asset class. Now, there are markets that are not going to be big enough to specialize in one asset class. And so you may have to do multiple asset classes if your market isn't big enough. But by and large, I would encourage you to pick an asset class, whether it's multifamily, retail, whatever. Pick one of those and then focus on that, because what you will do is become that expert in that specialization. You'll learn all the owners in it. You'll understand the nuances, you'll know the market like the back of your hand, and it'll just make it easier to build long-term expertise in your given field. Build your network, meeting with different professionals, lenders, attorneys, bankers, escrow officers, all these people. It's important that you're building that network. Start with a smaller deal, start with a smaller leasing assignment, partner with an experienced broker. Don't think that you need to go all out right out of the gate. I will tell you that getting into commercial real estate, it will take time to build up that pipeline. It will take time to generate business, and it will take a lot of consistency in how you prospect with a plan, knowing exactly what you are looking for. But once you do that and you stay consistent over time, it will start to build and it will snowball, so that 3, 4, 5 years into commercial real estate brokerage, you should be getting inbound business. I want to end with this. If you stay till the end, thanks for watching. My average commission check over 10 years is just under $50,000 per deal that I've closed. And a lot of that is from one side. I've also represented both sides in several transactions, which is another perk to selling commercial. But if you're thinking about getting into commercial, or you're making that jump from residential to commercial, I'd highly encourage you to reach out to anybody who's already doing it, ask for help. You're welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to share info with you. And thanks for watching.